When you're out and about, do you hear music drifting your way? From the store's Muzak to your personal playlist, music is different for everyone. For me, and for you. Music reminds us of memories and feelings from our past. Sometimes it reminds us of who we were and who we are today. And sometimes it reminds us of who we're meant to be. I'm a writer, and these are my music memories. This sweet story isn't about just one song. It's about a few different songs by different artists. But they all have one thing in common. They made me laugh through song. Marvelous by Billy Crystal, Asshole by Dennis Leary, and Google That Shit by Taryn Southern. There was a time that I was a big fan of stand-up comedy. The Robin Williams tape, Live at the Met, was a tape that I actually memorized. I recall my mom and I talking about what some people were wearing, and I made the joke about calling the fashion police. My mom laughed and told me that I'd come up with a great joke, but I corrected her, telling her that the joke was actually from one of Robin Williams' performances. Honestly, she looked a little disappointed. Maybe she was hoping that I would do some writing someday. I don't know. But I had listened to the tape so much that when I saw the video version of Robin's performance, I didn't like it as much, because there's a few subtle differences. Not really the jokes, but more the way they were told, the inflection. But this channel is about my music memories, and stand-up isn't music. Well, until it is. There have been several comedians that have recorded songs either as part of their comedy set or simply as an exercise in writing and performing a song, just to see if they could do it. Now, to be clear, I'm talking about the songs that the comedian made that were supposed to be funny, not the unintentionally hysterical things like Eddie Murphy's album from 1985. Asshole was probably one of the most famous of those songs. Well, besides the entire catalog of Weird Al Yankovic, but that's another story altogether. I don't really remember when Dennis Leary came into my life, but I'm pretty sure it was probably just before I saw his movie The Ref. In that movie, it seemed to me that he was simply playing the character that he was in his stand-up comedy, and I loved that movie. Mostly because of Dennis's frantic, exasperated, foul-mouthed comedy. I had his tape long before I ever saw his live performances, and that was another one that I had memorized. But it was because I understood what he was selling. I got him. I was an angry guy back then, and I was constantly frustrated by the dumbest things around me. People, and their irrational opinions. He gave a voice to the silent screams that would rattle around my head as I walked through my community. It seemed that he was annoyed at the same things that I was, and it helped me feel not so alone. For so long when I was a kid, I proudly identified as an asshole to every girl I met, just to give them a warning. Well, because it's true. I mean, if I say it before anyone else says it, it also hurts a little less. It's a good way to judge the character of the person I'm talking to. If they can take that statement in good stride, they'd maybe be able to put up with my crap. Because, like it or not, all guys have crap. Now, I know statements like this makes me sound sexist and stuff, but I can't really talk with authority on how ladies approach things, because, well, I'm a guy. And that's where my experiences lies. My wife, bless her, was one such lady. When I told her I was an asshole, she coolly replied, okay, so? And we've been together ever since. The Asshole song doesn't really get played much in my music escapades. It's largely regulated into being played in public settings. And no, I'm not talking about putting in my speakers outside my windows and blasting it on a Sunday morning to piss off the church folk. God, no. I'm talking about fun public spectacle that is karaoke. My friend Sean and I perform the song every time we're at our local bar on a Friday night. We always do a duet. We never really questioned why we sang an almost spoken word song as a duet, but that's just what we did. And I honestly think it was probably because I knew the words better and could talk faster. But either way, I would get the angry part, and Sean would sing the singing parts. And we would croon out the chorus. That was a staple of our karaoke visits for a long time. And sometimes, at the end of the song, there would be a member of the audience that would yell out, "Yeah, you guys really are assholes," to which we'd bow and leave the stage. I still try to watch all the Dennis Leary movies or TV shows that he performs in. They aren't all for my demographic or even good, but I certainly give them a try. That firefighter show, Rescue Me, was one I certainly passed on, and the Ice Age pantheon of movies always just seemed a little too young for me. But Demolition Man? Oh, that was magnificent. Billy Crystal, before he ever hosted the Oscars, released an album of stand-up with a good weird song. It was on the album Marvelous, and yes, that's exactly how it's spelled as well. Granted, the song was a throwback to a popular Saturday Night Live sketch that I never really saw, but the song was still pretty good. I remember my mom having the record when I was a kid. I don't really remember listening to the record. I mean, I was young, too young to be listening to adult stand-up. But I must have heard the song, though, because when I was building my digital library, I ran across that album, and the familiarity of it drew me in. As an adult, it was pretty funny. Not Robin Williams funny, but, well, it made me chuckle. The song, though, somehow I knew the words, by memory. I don't know how that's possible, but I knew them. A smile formed on my face. A strange nostalgic smile. You know the one, like smelling your grandmother's freshly baked cookies. It just made me happy. Billy Crystal was a comedian that I only really ever knew from his movies. I mean, I do know that he was on that 70s show Soap that, well, I never watched. And I heard he was pretty good on SNL, but seriously, I'd rather have Steve Martin on Saturday Night Live any day of the week, especially Saturday. But his movies were usually great. When Harry Met Sally is still one of the best romantic comedies of all time. Go ahead, rewatch it right now. I'll wait. And when you're doing that, subscribe to this channel. Okay, you're back. Didn't I tell you? Wasn't it great? His other standout movies are Throw Mama from a Train, the City Slicker movies, and the hidden gem Forget Paris. That one has a real When Harry Met Sally feeling to it, and it's almost as good. He's done voice work as Mike in the Monsters, Inc. movies, and the voice of Calcifer in Howl's Moving Castle. All those wonderful movies are why I usually don't think of Mr. Crystal as a comedian. To me, he's an actor who's just hysterical. One comedian I honestly hadn't heard any of her stand-up is Taryn Southern. I think I was scrolling through the Apple Music store looking for, well, something, when I came across her song. It was a song title that stopped me cold. It was called Google That Shit. So I gave it a little preview and then quickly bought it. It was so funny and somehow relevant to me personally. You see, back then, in 2012, my kids were still at the age where they would ask me for answers to, well, everything. It was always questions that would take a quick search or even common sense to come up with the answer. But nope, they would pepper me with questions. Now, I think I'm a smart guy. I can actually usually give them the answers that they wanted. But you know that saying, teach a kid to fish, and he'll allow you to watch hockey uninterrupted. So I started playing that song when they would get home from school or after dinner. Usually when the questions would be flying. Their ears perked up when they heard the swearing. They were old enough to know the difference between swearing at somebody in anger and swearing because they hurt themselves, like a stubbed toe. After a few days of hearing that song, I think they got the point. Now, I don't think this comedian did very much with her comedic life. I haven't heard much about her since that song. Looking at her IMDb page, I see lots of beginning actor credits, but no mention of a Netflix special or anything like that. But to be quite honest, I only care about the song and how funny it is. That and how much it seemed to annoy and educate my kids. Thanks for listening to a story that fell out of my head. I noticed something lately. Over 90% of the views that I get on this channel are from people who are not subscribed. I know, I'm shocked too. But if you like the music memories, please consider subscribing. It would mean the world to me. Until next time. Oh, wait. If you have any thought or story ideas, please let me know. I've got a comment section right below. I'll see if I can help out and we'll talk about it. Until next time.